Hello, I'm Glyndora Condond with Heal and Hope Counseling Services, and I wanted to get with you today in order to give you still yet another coping tool. So, I'm with Heal and Hope Counseling Services. I'm a licensed professional counselor, and due to the COVID-19 virus that's going around and the increased anxiety and stress that is hitting our people, then I wanted to um, go come to you, and I have already provided two different videos on this particular subject, trying to cover at least one of these coping tools with each video. So today we're going to be covering journaling. Journaling is a very helpful tool because what happens is our brain tends to pattern cycles of worry and stress and all kinds of negative type of thinking, which often is fueled with cognitive distortions, which requires a professional in order to be able to help you to identify them and to eradicate them. But until then you may need to be able to access some coping tools in order to be able to get these thoughts out of your head, and to help you with this particular situation. And journaling seems to be one of those tools. Um, I think something that happens when you're journaling is you're able then to write your thoughts down on paper, and as you're writing them, you're thinking that they make perfect sense and that they're very reasonable. But then, upon reading what you just wrote, oftentimes you see that it is somewhat um, nonsense. It's maybe trying to foretell the future, which we can't do. It's jumping to a conclusion, which is not wise, because this is a new thing, and so we don't know what to expect. And so instead of being so afraid of what tomorrow might bring, we just need to enjoy today and to do the smart things today in order to get us through today and to protect our family and ourselves, as best as we can. And trust that those efforts are going to pan out quite well for us. Worried about something that has not happened is fruitless. I mean, we can't do a thing about it until it actually happens, correct? Okay, so how many of us would stay home when we need to support our family and we were able to go out and work, and yet we were a construction worker and we depended upon the weather? If the weatherman got onto the Weather Channel and said, oh, well, we have 20% chance of rain today, and that's possibly scattered showers, so you may not get a rain, but there's just about 20%. How many of us would stay home? I don't think so. I think we'd be right out there and embracing that 80% that it most likely won't happen. And that's the same thing with this. So there's a good chance that it won't happen for us, especially if we're wise and we're washing our hands and we're taking the advice, that is been given to us. Then we need to trust, that those that scientists and those doctors and those labs and the president and the Republicans and Democrats, who are pulling together, to keep us safe, needs to trust in this effort and go ahead and do that. Okay, but sometimes we don't realize that we're thinking illogically until we actually see what we wrote down on the paper. So by writing it down, we can see that we're not being very logical, okay? And then it helps us to be more enlightened. Another thing that happens when we're writing things down in journaling is it gets it from here and it puts it on the paper, okay? So it's like our brain feels like it has to think and think and think and think, and it just keeps cycling over and over and over and over again because it doesn't want us to forget, when in fact we need to kind of forget. Okay, so by taking it here and putting it down on a piece of paper, then we're more likely to be able to get it out of our heads because it's on the paper, and so no longer does our brain need to remember it. So I hope that makes sense, to you. Um, the one thing that makes journaling much more effective is to journal their feelings and the verbiage and everything without any concern as to grammar or punctuation or spelling. I don't need to be concerned about that. I just need to put those thoughts and these feelings on that paper, okay? And just let it pour out of me. And I think that that would be so much more beneficial for most people to do it in that way. So, journaling is another tool that we can do in order to lower our stress and our anxiety and to be able to have more insight as to what our thoughts are. Are they illogical, or are they based upon facts and evidence? If not, then we need to get them based upon facts and evidence instead of all of this jumping to conclusions and trying to foretell the future, which we cannot do. Okay? So, you have a great day today, and I will see you on the next segment. Goodbye.